Hey everybody, this is Will H. the Cinephile, and this video's discussion will be about a movie that I hate with all my fucking guts. So, let's start with this, baby. Oh baby, I'm ready for this. Alrighty. Brr. So, let me start off by this. You're talking to someone who's been an admirer of Stephen King since middle school. His books have profoundly shaped my storytelling psyche. I've read his works for years, and they've stayed with me. And now you're telling me Stanley Kubrick's The Shining is one of the greatest horror films ever made? Are you people out of your fucking minds? Are you th- like like this movie is a fucking disgrace to us to the source material. Like, it doesn't do justice for King's vision. And yes, while Kubrick's flair is undeniable and Jack Nicholson's performance is good, overall this film disrespects everything the novel stands for. Like, let me clarify this. Stanley Kubrick is Stanley Kubrick. I've admired him since I was 14 years old. But I've admired Stephen King longer. Like, King's storytelling has left a massive impact on my writing, which is why I can't stand what Kubrick did to his work. There's no denying that Nicholson's portrayal of Jack Torrance is iconic, but let's not pretend that this movie does anything to truly capture the depth of the characters or the emotional weight of the story. And Shelley Duvall, her performance was so freaking terrible that it made me want to puke. I nearly puked. That's how bad her performance is. Like, even when I was a kid, whenever my mom watched this movie on Netflix, I've always thought this film was boring and lacking. And and after reading King's novel years later, it's even harder to watch. It's even hard to watch the film without feeling like it's a betrayal of everything King put into the story. Like, The Shining is a movie that's hailed as a classic, but to me, it's one of the worst adaptations of all time. Like, Kubrick can manipulate the camera like no other, but at the end of the day, his vision doesn't just land. It falls flat on its face, and no amount of atmospheric shots can save it. Like, even my best friend, my fellow cinephile, Nick, often says that he feels like it's just me and Stephen King who genuinely dislikes this movie. And you know what, baby? You're damn right. You are damn fucking right. Because Stephen King himself has described Kubrick's adaptation as a nice Cadillac, a beautifully crafted thing that looks good on the outside, but has no heart or engine inside. like deep down, to me, the only part of the movie that stands out is the "here's Johnny" moment, but the rest is just garbage. Like, when it comes to adapting Stephen King's novels, to me it's no easy feat. Whether if you're Brian De Palma, Rob Reiner, or Frank Darabont, or even Mike Flanagan, adapting his work is a massive challenge, in my opinion. Like, King's novels are steeped in deep character studies and psychological depth, like that are almost impossible to capture on screen. Like, sure, the Shawshank Redemption, The Green Mile, and the 2017's It adaptation did well, but for the most part, his works are just too complex for film. like the novels are designed to live in your mind, not to be confined to a 2-hour runtime. Like 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 take Carrie, for example. Even though Brian De Palma directed the film, it's an okay flick, but the emotional resonance of King's novel can't fully translate. like it's one of those book adaptations that's only meant for the book, not to be made into a movie. Like even like the same goes for The Shining. Kubrick, like it in a way, it's the same goes for The Shining. To be quite frank, like Kubrick stripped away the essence of what makes the novel so haunting, like the psychological battle Jack Torrance faces, his struggles with addiction, his guilt over breaking Danny's arm, his sense of failing as a father and husband, and those layers are absent in Kubrick's version, like the way King precisely went into details with with those um with those um with those character depths that you he really went out there for them, and you just kind of like, god damn, like even like I'm like, god damn, this is deep. While Kubrick sounds like, fuck this shit. Like, I will say that I've done my research throughout the years. Like, I know Kubrick's genius, his meticulous attention to detail behind the camera. Like, I respect that. His direction is impressive. His ability to control the narrative through visuals is unmatched. But when it comes to The Shining, he fails. Like Shelley Duvall's performance, to be blunt, is horrendous, and it's only exasperated by the extreme psychological toll Kubrick placed on her. Like some argue it's her best performance, but to me that doesn't excuse the fact that Kubrick pushed a terrible actress beyond her limits in a way that only hurt the film even more. Like, let me make something clear. Kubrick may be a fantastic visionary, but Shelley Duvall was never right for the role of Wendy Torrance. Like, she is a terrible actress in this film. No matter how hard Kubrick tried, Duvall couldn't deliver what was needed for the role. Like he pushed her to perform in ways that didn't work, and the result was one of the worst performances I've ever seen in a film. Now, for the novel, King's The Shining is precise. It's detailed. It's emotional. The way he explores Torrance's inner turmoil, his addiction, his guilt, his struggles, gives the novel a depth that Kubrick's film lacks entirely. Like the emotional weight of the story is what makes it terrifying. The relationship between Jack, Wendy, and Danny is at the heart of the novel, and Kubrick, for all in his technical brilliance, ignored that depth in in favor of style over substance. Like this movie doesn't even come close to capturing the raw intensity of King's novels. Like it's trying to fit a sprawling, complex narrative into a tiny 2-hour box. But Kubrick may have been trying to create something atmospheric, but it doesn't work. It's like 2001: A Space Odyssey, a visual masterpiece, but it misses the mark on emotional and narrative depth. It's a beautiful looking movie, duh, but the substance just isn't there. But like this movie is not only a disgrace to King's novel, but it's also a disgrace to horror cinema. It gets hailed as one of the greatest horror films ever made, and it ranks at in the list in the top 250 narrative feature films on Letterboxd, but I see it as one of the worst adaptations of all time. Like good for those who enjoy this film, but it simply doesn't work. It doesn't resonate with me, and it doesn't resonate with Stephen King either. And like overall, as much as I respect Stephen King's opinions, I've got to say that I disagree with him on his top 10 favorite adaptations. Even though I'm going to save it for another video for another day. But but overall, The Shining is just a beautiful mess. It's a film with stunning visuals, a chilling performance from Nicholson, but at its core, it's a hollow, soulless adaptation of a masterpiece. But it's a movie that doesn't get the emotional depth, or the character complexity, or the real horror of King's novel, and that, to me, is unforgivable. So, I hope you all enjoyed my review on this so-called adaptation. So, I hope you like, subscribe, and share. And also follow my letterbox account. And, and I'll see you in my next video, my fellow cinephiles.